This Australian innings felt like driving in Mumbai traffic on a working day because it just felt like there were so many speed breakers, could never go to the top gear because England were those speed breakers. They've gotten all out for 286. Vokes got those 4 wickets. Adil Rashid got 2. Mark Wood got 2. Labuschagne got off to a great start, went on to 71, couldn't convert it. Cam Green 47, Steve Smith has 44. We are back at Cricbuzz Live. I'm Saiyami Kher and I have DK and Zach with me. Zach, what do you make of this innings? Because it just felt like, okay, now they'll go into 5th gear. Now they might shift gears, but they just didn't quite get going.
Yeah, they kept losing wickets. I think that is something which sums up Australia's innings, what we saw today. It's just about the start. You know, they were so dependent on Warner and Head giving them that kind of a start. Even if they didn't get it, maybe Labuschagne, Smith provided that platform which they required. But this 30, 40, 50 runs difference which you're looking at, it's just the set batters are not going on to get that 3-figure mark or going on to make a big 100 is something which would have made the difference. Wasn't the case. Chris Vokes and Mark Wood was superb. Adil Rashid also in the middle overs providing those breakthroughs. England kept getting wickets, somehow made sure that Australia is not going to have that total which is going to be in excess of 300.
We'll have a look at the batting card because they just couldn't quite convert the starts, DK, and also, well, Chris Vokes came in between you and your prediction, unfortunately. But when you look at this batting card, yes, Head and Warner didn't get out to a start. And then with Smith and Labuschagne, you'd expect one of them to convert and make a big one, which didn't happen.
4 of the top 8 actually gotten off to a really good start. I mean, all of them have got 40s there, barring Stoinis, who's got 35, and they all look good. A couple threw it away, a couple got good balls. So I would just say it's been a batting effort that is decent. It's probably 10, 12 under par. They would have probably wanted a slightly higher score. But having said that, Australia have bowled well in this tournament. But the batting effort, just like what Zach said, I think it's been an effort where they've not stitched together big partnerships. They've had a couple of good partnerships, but none went on to make that magical 3-figure mark. And the teams which have batted well in this tournament so far, all of them somehow have had 100 in partnership, sometimes 200, and one of the batters have gone on to get a brilliant 100.
Because it's also Labuschagne, I feel, Zach, you know, I think DK and I spoke about it in the com box as well, is he's always reached these 40 plus scores. He got to 70 today, but he's just not being able to convert it into a big 100, which you need for innings like this.
Yeah, but at least the intent was there. You know, if you look at Smith and Labuschagne, the way they absorbed pressure after losing first couple of wickets early, that partnership was very important. And also it was important to keep the momentum going, keep the tempo up. So in that process, at times you may lose wicket, and that's something which you can't have control over. You can't cover all the bases, you know, with that regard. So they did the job. They could have taken it to the next level. That didn't happen. Usually you see a set batter, maybe one of them going on to getting that big 100 is something which would have made the difference of 40 runs at the end. So that didn't happen. That's the disappointment. But other than that, if you see the phase, that phase which was important for them post 10 overs, that middle phase, these two did a fairly decent job of getting the team to that level from where they could have launched and reached to that next block of overs. You know, that 11 to 20 over was a nice one. But also when you don't lose wicket and you have enough runs there in that phase, you want to up the tempo just a bit, and in that process they lost wickets.
But DK, isn't this what you expect from Smith and Labuschagne? Also, Smith is falling to spin. I think it's the 7th time he's fallen to Adil Rashid, and this World Cup now the 5th time to spin. And we all know how much Steve Smith loves playing spin, how good he's against spin. So what's going wrong there?
A choice of shots, confidence. This dismissal was a touch unlucky in the sense that the execution wasn't right. But if you do look at the previous dismissals, he's just gotten out cotton bowled once, he just got nicked off. So as a batter who's actually very proficient against spin, he has not brought his A game. And I feel confidence plays a massive part. Look, when it comes to Steven Smith, it's a case of many moving parts. Unlike other batters, his technique is not simple. So when your confidence drops, at times it can be a little hard because the number of things happening before the ball is bowled is a lot more compared to other batters who have simpler techniques. So that is always the case with people who have those kind of complex movements. And in Steven Smith's case, fast bowling at times he can struggle because of his movements. With spinners, it's far lesser. But what he has not done well is he's not had the confidence so much to use his feet. When he's been good against spin, he's always got great hands. That's his biggest advantage. And when he uses his feet, he is able to hit the ball in gaps and in areas which is actually very tough. But because he's lacked the confidence and probably because he's not picked which way it's turning so much, he hasn't used his feet as much. He's been playing a lot more from the crease, and he's not a power hitter who can just muscle a ball through big gaps. In Ahmedabad, it's a big ground, and you can see today the shot he got out as well. It tells you the state of affairs in his mind, and we keep speaking about it. Cameron Green has come good today. Marcus Stoinis has had a good hit today. So when Mitchell Marsh does come back, who do they go back to? Who do they leave out of their squad? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Cameron Green again, but Smith has not had a World Cup, which is something to be remembered in terms of the standards he set across World Cups. He's always been a key player. He bats really well at number 3 and 4. Hasn't been the best tournament for him.
Well, Zach, like he's talking about Cameron Green, we spoke about him in the pre-match show as well. He got off to a really good start, but unfortunately couldn't convert. He was playing very maturely as well, in spite of not coming at number 3 to the disappointment of everyone at Cricbuzz.
No, his innings was actually a good one. At that stage, if you look at it, he tried a shot to Willie, which may be not a shot which we often see from him. Like you've seen him use his power down the ground in those situations. Maybe opting a wrong option is something which costed him that wicket. But on the whole, he looked good. I think he was the aggressor in that partnership when Smith got out.
But also Stoinis, when you're given these opportunities, DK, because your place is in and out into the team, it almost feels like they'll both be disappointed, because if one had gone and cemented themselves and gotten like a big score, they knew they'd cement themselves in the team.
Both Green and Stoinis, I thought, played ordinary shots at that stage. And I'll say why Green, because lap sweep is not something that he does usually. So I don't know why he chose that as an option. I think the field prompted him to use that as a boundary option. But he was at a stage where he had 10 overs left. I could understand if it was the 46th over and it was hard to hit boundaries. But in the 40th over, he had time. I think when he looks back at his innings, that's where experience comes into fruition in terms of how you think at that stage. He was looking at boundary and he thought, okay, if I just get bat, I'll get a boundary. And probably it was the wrong thought at that time. Stoinis, on the other hand, got a 6. Got a boundary the next ball, and then pulled a ball which he knew wasn't there to be pulled. He just played this third aggressive shot on the bounce, and that's why he would be disappointed. I would still be okay with the Cameron Green because he's young and he actually came in at a tough position and batted beautifully, played some high pace from Wood really well, found a way through that, could have been out pulling a ball, but just came through all of that. But Stoinis, it was all set. It was a day when he could have got 70, 75 not out, because he was batting really well. He was taking down the spinners, and he's always good in the V, and he chose to play a shot, which I think when he looks back at it, knows that it wasn't a great option.
Like you said, some bad shots, some good balls. We'll have a look at the bowling card, because Chris Woakes was impressive top when he got both those early wickets, and then he got 2 wickets later in the innings. But Zach, a little more on Chris Woakes, because the pressure was completely on Australia when he got both the openers into the pavilion.
He will be relieved, I feel. He's not had the most easy World Cups. But in the previous game also, he was backing himself to bowl that length, which is Test match length, getting the batters to come on the front foot. And as a bowler, if you don't have that confidence in this format, you can go for plenty. He is definitely off the boil a little bit than what he has been at the international level. Maybe bowling a touch slower, that zip is a little less. But he used his variation also very well at the beginning. The pitch was also supporting that. That Warner's dismissal was the fingers just rolling onto the ball and getting that slight bit of extra bounce, which resulted in that wicket. But the dismissal of Travis Head, that was a proper delivery, which is just pitched up. Close enough to him. You know that Travis Head is going to be in that aggressive mode. And in that scenario, as a bowler, if you don't have the confidence, you're not going to back yourself. So that showed that he was up for the challenge. He was ready to pitch the ball up and let the pitch do the rest. So those are the signs which you want to see in a bowler, and those are the signs of confidence. So Chris Wokes for sure from the previous game taking the confidence from whatever was required and carrying it into this game.
Very well said by Zach. When it comes to bowling, you always know that the Travis Head wicket really got Zach very happy. But DK, do you think he's done something different, or do you think it's almost like, okay, now we have nothing to lose really, because what can we lose from here? So just not having the pressure and bowling without the pressure, that's maybe helped him?
Oh, no. He has a lot of pressure on him because you got to understand it's the last World Cup for him. He himself has admitted that, he's probably going to stop playing this format and focus on other formats. And understandably, he has been the go-to bowler. As a captain, he's one of the bowlers that they rely on. And the first 6 games of this World Cup have been very, very poor by his standards. He wasn't anywhere close to how well he's bowled in the last 2 World Cups. And he had a point to prove. He's a banker for a captain. And I think it was the India game which was a turning point. He bowled exactly like what Zach said, hit the right lengths, made the batsman, look for balls, and then the ball he got Shubman Gill was brilliant. And today he's carried forward that confidence. If he wasn't confident today, I think Travis Head would have taken him on because he was in a much better frame of mind. He was up for the challenge, and hence he was able to bowl that ball with a lot of conviction at that stage. A lot of bowlers would have found it hard because they know Travis Head is looking for runs. And if you're short of confidence, when you're trying to bowl to that kind of batter, you will be exposed a lot of the times in international cricket. But it was good to see that he was backing his strength, and he did well in that mini battle. It was definitely Wokes who did well.
Well, that other battle between Steve Smith and Adil Rashid, Adil Rashid was victorious again. He's gotten 2 important wickets. Zach, we spoke about how he came in later. You were a little surprised, but now in hindsight, it all worked well for England and Butler.
No, I think England, if they have to look back, there could have been 30 or 40 runs more saved if Adil Rashid was into the attack earlier. I think he was thinking too much about the 5th bowler's overs, which costed him maybe 30 runs easily. There was some help on offer. Now, when the ball is little harder, it's that much more effective for a spinner also to take advantage of, which I think that trick England missed. They were too defensive. After you've taken 2 wickets in the first 10 overs, you can continue to put batters under pressure. You knew that Labuschagne and Smith are going to just look to accumulate runs. They're not look to take big chances. So that's your opportunity. But you are thinking defensive, that Livingston is someone who can come in, maybe get 3-4 overs out from him. But 1 more wicket at that stage puts you in even more commanding position. And also the batters which are coming later, you've seen how English played that reverse sweep, which is a soft dismissal. That happened in spite of them putting a partnership together. So imagine if that partnership is not there and Rashid manages to get a wicket at that stage, you put a further squeeze on, and that could have resulted in 30-40 more runs saved by England in the field. So it's just the way you look at it. Adil Rashid is a great bowler, and he's done what he does usually on field.
Well, DK, we'll get back to this game because there's something very exciting happening, which is the other game. Rain, covers on, off. The final update is the covers have been removed, and Pakistan need 182 more in 19.3 overs. What a knock by Fakhar Zaman. It was almost like my jaw was dropped and I didn't know where to look because we couldn't really focus on the Australia-New Zealand game because of the way Fakhar Zaman was playing.
It's a job half done, Saimi. If Pakistan need to cross that line, he needs to get a big one. He needs to reset, go back in, start afresh. Because if he gets half the runs that's required, which is close to 90 runs, then it's an easy walk in the park because he bats at a brilliant clip. 19 overs, 182 runs on that pitch in that ground is very gettable. Many teams in T20 have managed it, but they need one guy to bat big. And I feel that guy, the way he's batted today, the bowlers are wary, 2 left-arm spinners, everything in his favour. If they get Fakhar Zaman's wicket early, then it will be a game where New Zealand will definitely fancy a very strong chance. If Fakhar Zaman, on the other hand, bats and gets another 50-60 runs, that's when this game will turn, and Pakistan need this victory very, very badly. They need it as much, if not more, than New Zealand. At least New Zealand have a chance against Sri Lanka. If Pakistan lose this, it's tournament over for them. The captain is there. The responsibility on his shoulders, plenty. It's going to be a very, very interesting chase.
But Zach, Fakhar Zaman again, one very quick 100, and Babar on the other hand is also, the intent has been very good. So, like DK is saying, a very big win that Pakistan want and crucial win for them. But so far, things going right for Pakistan.
Well, that's what you want to see. I think Pakistan fans will also be very happy with seeing this kind of effort by their team. They didn't have an easy day with the ball in hand on the field. You want someone to have that belief, and you want someone to show that fight. And I think Fakhar today showed that fight for Pakistan. So that is something which is very important for any team. You've seen in this tournament itself from England, that spark was missing. Today, the way Livingston celebrated after taking Stoinis out is the kind of body language you want to see out there. And I think Fakhar today going out there, scoring this 100, setting the platform right now for a 400 plus run chase. Now, whatever you are chasing from here, it's still going to be better than chasing 400. Because you have more things to go wrong in the long journey than a shorter journey, and half the journey is over. So I think Pakistan will be very excited and looking forward to this run chase, no matter what the target is, because they still have 9 wickets in hand, and then they still have 2 set batters there.
But DK, when a batter has to go back, it rains, you come back out. There's always that getting back to, batters just have one chance. With a bowler, he has one bad delivery, he can get back. But that one ball, when you come back, it's not something like batters really like. Who do you think has the edge right now?
10 runs or no. I think New Zealand has the edge. And I say that only because as they get closer to the score, the pressure will mount on Pakistan. The one good thing for Pakistan is they bat deep. Agha Salman bats at 7 today. So, it is a good thing for them. But the pressure on Pakistan is immense. The difference between New Zealand and Pakistan is if Pakistan lose, they're out. New Zealand still have a game in hand with Sri Lanka, and they beat them, there's a good chance they'll go through as well. So Pakistan have plenty to lose. The backs to the wall, lots of things happening, but everything is out now. They need to get 182, 19 overs. It is a possible target, but definitely New Zealand has the upper hand because of the break. They go back, they start fresh. As I said, Fakhar Zaman is the key to this chase.
Zach, do you think you almost go in now with an approach of let's approach this like a T20 game because it's 20 overs and 182 to get?
No, you just basically whatever you've seen in the 2021 overs, you know that you're chasing 400 plus runs. So the game itself have set the tempo for you. So you don't have to go think what kind of format you're playing. It's just about putting pressure now, and you just have to continue with that. Now, first 20-21 overs you've played with that intent and you've been successful. You have a batter which is batting at 100 plus runs there. Babar also showed that intent. So I think I would say the Pakistan batters will be fancying their chances right now. Purely because with rain around, at times it gets very difficult for spinners also to grip the ball. The ball might get wet. The conditions might go against the fielding team. So all those factors, if they come into play, then you have 2 set batters. If they continue with the same kind of approach, then you would say that New Zealand bowlers will have a very tough time defending, because we've seen in this venue, on this ground, a lot of times teams have chased down some unbelievable numbers.
True.
And anything can happen. It's a 6-hitting ground. If it was played on some other ground, then you would have looked at the same situation differently. But because it's Chinnaswamy, I think you might tilt more towards the batting team right now, especially with 2 set batters batting there.
Well, we have an exciting game 2 exciting games on our hands, but let's just hope it doesn't rain and we get a full game in the Pakistan-New Zealand game. DK, looking at the chase now, we'll have a look at England's playing 11, and so far in the tournament, the batting has really been disappointing. Right from the top, it's been really disappointing. But Bairstow, if we can talk about, he's somebody who there is always so much expectation on him, especially because there has been, Harry Brook was in, but they also left out a Jason Roy. So there's always that thing is, have you kind of backed the wrong horse? Considering it's Bairstow, you know what you can get from him, but he's just not delivered.
Bairstow's had a tough tournament. There is no doubt about it. There was plenty riding on him as an opening batter. He was a senior batter as well. And interestingly, it's David Malan who's had a much better tournament than Bairstow. He knows himself some of the shots that he's chosen to play in this World Cup was not the best. in the lead up to the World Cup as well. If you do see those stats, just the 250s tells you, it's not been a great time for Johnny Bairstow in ODI cricket. But he's the kind of man, backs to the wall, he always comes out, all guns firing. So, and he's had a good time in the Ashes against Australia as a batter, so he would back himself. It's about his choice of shots because he's somebody who's brave enough to play big shots. But at times, like the dismissal against India, it was a bit of a nothing shot by his standards, and I think that's what he would want to avoid. He has a lot of good shots, and this is the kind of day where he would want to stand up. England, Australia, we spoke about the rivalry in the pre-show, and he's the kind of man who, the big moments come, he's always wants to be a part of it, and here is his opportunity to do so.
Zach, England has played a certain brand of cricket which they're very proud of. It's just not worked this time. But the batting unit has just completely failed. They're the second lowest average in the batting department. And no one really has fired. So considering all that, do you think someone should put up their hand and say, let's go back to maybe traditional ways and see if we can just someone anchor the innings at least?
Well, straight away, when you're looking at those numbers, you can make out. If you're sitting in Australian camp right now, you would say that this team is under pressure. And this team has not delivered so far in the tournament with the bat in hand. So any total you get is going to be good enough if you get those early wickets and if you bowl well. You've seen that with the Indian team. That total was actually easily gettable maybe in those conditions. If any other team with Dew coming in, you just have to start decently, keep up with the tempo. It was that kind of innings, but they failed miserably to chase down that kind of a total. So Australian bowlers right now will be thinking on the same lines. Not just Bairstow, I think, in that batting lineup, many are having a very disappointing numbers when you're looking at this tournament. So that's the thing they'll have to turn around. For that, you need a good start. And for that good start, Malan needs to fire and Johnny Bairstow needs to fire for sure. He will enjoy facing Australian bowlers just because of the pace. I think if there is not much swing on offer, then Johnny Bairstow can take advantage of that. But on the whole, if you're just looking at this run chase, you will safely say that Australia have a better chance of defending this total simply because England have not turned up with bat in hand.
Well, someone who has turned up with his ball in the hand is Zampa. He's been extremely impressive. He's had a great World Cup. I think 4 games, he's got 3+ wickets in 4 games. And DK, he holds the key today because it's against Zampa, his spin versus the English not so fiery batting card.
In the top 5 wicket takers of the World Cup so far, there's only one spinner, and that is Adam Zampa, and that pretty much sums up how good a World Cup it's been for him. He's had a tough time in the lead up to the World Cup. He's not been bowling great, but the last 4 games he's bowled beautifully. And again, England have actually not played leg spin that well. They've not played spin that well at all, but more so leg spin. So that's an area that Zampa would love to exploit. Australia will be very aware of that. England are in a place where they need to play a perfect set of 45 overs. They just can't play one phase well and get away because their confidence is so low that even if they get one phase good, but the next phase they can easily drop the runs or drop the wickets, and that's the last thing that the English dressing room would want. But that's bound to happen because when your confidence levels are low, you need a couple of games where you bat beautifully through and through. And for that to happen, they have to see this massive threat called Adam Zampa off. And that's not going to be easy. It's a big ground. He's going to toss it up. He's going to tempt them into playing big shots. So they better execute it well, because the one thing England does is when the opportunity is there, they look to score runs, but the execution hasn't been on point. So today they need to make sure that that comes right.
Zach, Zampa was talking about how this World Cup, the ball is just coming beautifully out of his hand. Technically, do you think he's doing something different, or he's doing what he's been doing, but it's just finally come together?
He's getting more experience now. He's been around for a while, and with any leg spinner, if you see their journey, or any spinner for that matter, the more they play, the better they get. So that's something which stays constant. The more deliveries you bowl, you are more assured. You know what kind of field placements work for you. You know different conditions, how to take advantage of the repetitions of balls bowled for any bowler. Just gets you that confidence also. So I think Zampa has not done anything different than what we've been seeing. It's a confidence thing, like how DK was mentioning. Once you get on a roll, you get wickets, and then things start falling for you. You're more assured. You're not thinking about what's not going your way. You're more thinking about the batter you are bowling to. All those things, and add to that the Indian conditions. Every spinner comes to Indian subcontinent, and these pitches, they provide that kind of assistance. It's like fast bowler going to England and enjoying the swing. If you're a swing bowler, you'll always enjoy bowling in English conditions, no matter how the pitch is behaving. So similar case with Zampa, I think, is the conditions, and now with wickets behind his back, the confidence is also there.
Okay, so 70-30 DK, or that's too much?
I think that's fair. I think 75-25 in favor of Australia for the moment.
And Zach, for you?
Spot on. I think you look at those numbers you've been showing with England batting the kind of form they've shown. Australia will fancy. They'll think that okay, they're 30 runs short at this stage, looking at how their batting has gone. But when you're looking at England's form with the bat, I think these runs should be enough.
And that's where I'm amazed. Yet another time when a captain wins a toss and they have not batted well in this tournament and chose to bowl. Well, I hope Joss Butler is right. I really hope.
Maybe they finally probably think that the batting unit will fire today, and today is the day against Australia.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the hope.
The hope, yeah.
Yeah, we'll wait and watch. But I just quickly want to talk about a big blow that India has suffered, and that's Hardik Pandya, that has been ruled out of the World Cup, and this is what he had to say. Tough to digest the fact that I will miss out on the remaining part of the World Cup. I'll be there with the team in spirit, cheering them on every ball of every game. Thanks all for the wishes, the love, the support has been incredible. This team is special, and I'm sure we'll make everyone proud. Love always, HP. But Zach, big blow for India, because he was just that role of the all-rounder which we've been looking for so long. He's fitted in perfectly, and Hardik Pandya not in the Indian team is something which is going to take some time for us to digest as fans.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, frustrating for anyone who gets injured during a tournament, because you prepare for tournaments like these. It's a milestone tournament, comes in once in 4 years, so you want to be saving everything and making sure that you are ready for this. I think he did everything possible to be ready for it. He was able to contribute with bat, ball. He did whatever it was required of him or expected of him in terms of when you are designating those roles and responsibilities, looking at individuals and asking them to do certain things. I think he was spot on with doing everything. It's frustrating, and it's frustrating because, especially for him, to see team doing so well, and you not being part of it. So you have to brush aside all these things, take things in your stride. Injury is something which you don't have any control over. Now, what's the situation? Is the situation in hand? The team has made the call of announcing the replacement, giving him enough time to be ready. Unfortunately, he couldn't get himself fit for the remainder of the World Cup. But I think, the disappointment is always going to be there, and he'll have to take things in stride, not get too frustrated, control the controllables, and do the right things.
Well, he has come back from severe injury before, and we know that he will come back stronger. But DK, are you surprised, or did you expect India to go ahead with the replacement of another seamer within Prasidh that they've gotten?
When I saw the news, I was shocked because I thought he'd get ready. It felt like he could get ready. In fact, I met him and he was also confident, but things definitely have not gone according to plan, and it's a lot worse than what they thought it would be. So I think it's a very pragmatic decision. The fact that they brought Prasidh Krishna makes sense. They needed the backup fast bowler. They've been without a backup fast bowler, just Shardul Thakur. So it's a very understandable decision, and one that Indian team will probably, if they had not won these two games, they would have been very worried. But the fact that with this combination, one combination with Zach loves actually, they have run really well. You know, this 5-bowler, 6-batter combination with Jadeja being the all-rounder. Even though on paper at times it can be a little worrying, you lose the 4th wicket, you always know one more, and that number 8 Shami walks in. But that's the only worry. But the bowling has been phenomenal. One thing that I remember Zach saying that, you might end up chasing 30 runs less, or you might end up chasing defending totals which are not par with this kind of a bowling attack, and you're seeing that happen, and man, they're bowling brilliantly. I don't know what to say. I'm running short of superlatives to say how good they are. it's quite the bowling effort. But keeping all that aside, I feel for Hardik Pandya because I know he was preparing really hard for this tournament. You got to understand the previous two World Cups didn't go according to plan for him, was part of the 2019 World Cup which didn't go, so he was really wanting to make an impact in this World Cup. He hasn't played too much cricket. Again, he's missing a long duration of game, long duration of time away from the game due to his injury. And, we were speaking about Cameron Green and now it's Hardik Pandya. The all-rounders, one of the biggest challenges is to stay fit. And it's with the amount of cricket that people play, it's becoming harder by the day. And you can see people choosing formats to be part of, which suits their game, and it's understandable. But I feel for him. I'm sure he'll be okay when he comes back. He'll be a good cricketer. I think the next big tournament is obviously going to be the IPL and the World Cup that follows soon. So he's got some interesting cricket coming up, but this World Cup will be a big miss. I think in the studio below here, there was a man, one Ashish Nehra, played the whole tournament, missed the final.
Yes.
And, you can ask him and I'll tell you, it's not a nice feeling when you're bowled well and you're part of the team and not making the final. Hardik Pandya missing out. This will be a sad one.
Well, it will be a sad one, but like he said, he's with the team in spirit, and we wish him a quick recovery because we all want to see him back on the field very soon. And what we will be doing very soon now is our prediction game, because you were very close, DK. So you go first.
I will go first. So in 10 overs, 68.
Okay, 68, Zach.
50.
Okay.
Cautious start.
I will go in between with 58. So we are all covered. The team has to win, like we say, the team has to win. So we are going to try and hope that someone from Cricbuzz Live English wins, because we are in competition with the studio down. We'll wait and watch. Like I said, there's a lot happening. So the covers are off. We have 2 matches to watch. So we're going to do that, and we'll catch you at the 15-over point at the Cricbuzz com box.